Hello, once again, this is Brother Teacher. I would like to comment for a moment, if I may, concerning again the loss of another innocent black man named George Floyd at the hand of the Minneapolis Police Department. Was not the department as a whole, but Derek Chauvin was a representative of that police department. So, in actuality, it is the police department's fault for not only allowing a person, an individual like Chavez, to be a member or part of the department of what I am certain, for the most part, are diligently um, creative, inspiring, upstanding male and female police officers. He just happened to be one of the bad ones. And I am so relieved, along with many, many more, that charges were filed against this former police officer, Derek Chauvin. He's been charged with, I believe, third degree murder and manslaughter as of today. And also, throughout and across America, people are speaking out. They are, and you are, expressing your voices, your resentment for this kind of inhumane treatment against any member of our society, which in this case it happens to be a man of color, a black man. This has been going on far too long. America has a debt to pay. You may not want to hear me say this. You can click off. But America has a debt to pay to the African American or the black man that's here on this continent. We have been abused. We have been misused. We have been oppressed ever since we have set foot on this land, from afar, and even those that were indigenous to this land. Disproportionate treatment, in contrast to white counterparts, Asian counterparts, Latino counterparts, or any other ethnic group in America, blacks have always been at the bottom, have always been segregated from the population as if they did not matter. But we do matter. We have always mattered. God loves all mankind, and he has no respect of any one particular ethnic group. And it is insane. It is even frustrating to know that there is a segment of our society that deliberately attempts to keep down another minority segment of our society just because of our lack of resources. For example, black people don't have the majority of the wealth in America. Whites do. And for the most part, whites stole the wealth from other nations. All you need do is look at colonialism, look at occupation of other countries and provinces and so forth. Who carried out this in more recent years? Let's say specifically 200 to 300 years. I know that there have been other countries and other nations that have enslaved people, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about the vestiges of slavery against the black man in the 1600s, even up into the present modern day slavery. Anyhow, I'm so happy, along with hundreds of thousands and even millions of people today, to see our people and even our white supporters and our Asian supporters and our Latino supporters and our Middle Eastern supporters and anyone that is not black that's standing up against this atrocity that occurred against George Floyd by Officer Derek Chauvin. There's protests going on even as I'm speaking. Tennessee, Texas, Atlanta, my home, Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, Minneapolis, where it occurred, California, New York. It just moves me to see these people united. And I'm one of them. And the reason it moves me even more so now than ever before is because I believe that people are fed up. Not only black folks, but everyone is fed up. This must end, and it must end now. Now, there was a gentleman that was murdered not too long ago by two white individuals. He was shot while he was jogging. His name is Aubrey. That was not that long ago. And there was a young lady who was an EMT worker who was shot in her home. Shot at 8 times because the police mistakenly thought that there was some foul play going on in that home. And now, fast forward to this week, another man in Minneapolis knelt on his neck. A police officer did. 8 to 9 minutes. Asphyxiation, losing oxygen to his brain. He became motionless and he lost his life. He may have been pronounced dead at or on the way to the hospital, but he was dead on the ground. Because it only takes 2 to 3 minutes for you to lose oxygen and you die. It doesn't take 10 or 20 minutes. So now, America is speaking out. I do not condone looting. I do not condone black people destroying their own communities. But what I do condone 110% is us making our voice heard. I heard one celebrity say today, Gary Owen, the protesting is justified. And I just learned today that an old abandoned police station was set afire. That should happen. Someone say, well, brother teacher, are you saying someone should burn down a building? I'm not encouraging and condoning that anyone burn down a building, but it should be expected when the powers that be, the people that are the overseers, the leaders of the police departments and the local government, know that you have loose cannons. You know that you have certain individuals on your force that have a predisposition to commit acts like this against the citizenry. What do you expect? It is to be expected. Now, if it's not to be expected, then those of you that are listening to me right now that are in position, that are police officers, that are government agencies or what have you, then tell us what the answer is. When a police officer guns down someone who's running away, Walter Scott, South Carolina, what's the answer, police officer? All of you that are listening to me now, maybe, what's the answer to that? Oh, I know what the answer is for many of you. Just turn your head the other way and act as though it didn't happen. What about Eric Garner in New York? Choked to death by a police officer. He didn't present any threat to anyone. What's the answer to that, Mr. and Miss Police Officer? Do you condone that? What about Sandra Bland? Traffic stop, Texas. Forced out of her car and onto the ground. Locked in a cell. Found dead the next day. Allegedly having killed herself. Hanged herself in a cell with a plastic garbage bag liner. That's not true. We all know that's not true. What about Tamir Rice, 12 years old in Cleveland, Ohio? In the park playing with a toy gun. 911 dispatcher sends out the police. One car shows up. 2 cops. One gets out, shoots the boy dead. What about that police officer? Do you condone that? Oh, I forgot. We've got to have an investigation. A thorough investigation. That's always the answer, isn't it? Videos don't lie. Because they looked at the video of Floyd being suffocated by this police officer's knee on his neck, and they used that as evidence to make their decision on charging him. So apparently the video does matter. So are all of our eyes blinded when we watch the other videos of all of the other black people that were killed by the hand of a police officer? Do we need an investigation then? Or is the camera lying? Because if the tape or the video doesn't matter, then why is the prosecution using it as evidence? It does matter. So stop playing the American people as stupid and as a fool. We know what we see. There has to be no intensive investigation. What are you investigating? What we all know to be true, that there are racist police officers on the force all across this country, and they're killing black people as if they're going hunting for sport. So again, I'm so proud to see our people speaking out, standing up, and lending their voices to the world so that the world unites with us, because we are the human family. And to let the world know, to let the police departments know across this land and even across the world, let them know that this is inappropriate behavior. This is never acceptable. It's never been acceptable. And it's gone on far too long. So, also, I am so proud to see our Caucasian brothers and sisters out on the battlefield, so to speak, alongside our people, protesting alongside our people, who can see with their own eyes what is going on in America and how black people have been targeted. This is not new. It's been going on for decades and even hundreds of years. But no more. This is about the end. And it's not going to be pretty. I hope this serves as a message and as a lesson to all of those crooked police officers. And by no means is it all police officers. There's some great police men and women. But to all of those who are crooked, and you know who you are, to all of those that are racist, and you know who you are, I hope that this serves as a lesson to you that this crap is not going to be tolerated anymore. You will be held accountable. And you are going to be held accountable. The highest judge in the world and the universe is God Almighty, Yahweh. He's the supreme judge. And what you think you've gotten away with, it's only a matter of time before he sends down his wrath. And you will pay. So don't worry about the people so much and the judicial system bailing you out. Your days of walking away after you shot a black man in the back or in the head who was unarmed or who you thought had a gun and he had a cell phone in his hand, and you thought that you were in a position where you was fearful of your life being taken and so forth, but you're the one with the gun. You're the one who have the several police officers there as support, as in the Daniel Schaefer case, and he's on his knees, Caucasian man that is, begging for his life, and he's shot dead in the hotel hallway on the ground in a submissive position, begging for his life, and he leaves to survive him, his wife and 2 daughters. Go figure. It's not going to continue this way. I'm not encouraging anyone to riot. That's not acceptable. I'm not encouraging anyone to devastate their community. That's not acceptable. I'm not encouraging anyone to hurt or harm another human being. After all of these things that have been done to our people, I'm not encouraging that. That's not acceptable. But all of you that are in position, in politics, in the judicial system, in government, in law enforcement, just be aware. Just be advised. The fact that you do nothing and you say nothing and that you don't stand on the actual law as it relates to African Americans or black people, and that you treat them as if they are 3/5 of a human being still, we're not. We never have been. We are men and women. We are deserving of respect and consideration and courtesy. We deserve to live just like you would want to live as well. And to take another man's life from his family, that's not going to be a regular thing anymore. Just be advised. So, protests going on all across America, and even in some other countries. Hooray. I applaud you all. I'm in on the support of life, no matter who it is. It just so happens that it's involving us most of the time. So, I hope that these protests, these peaceful protests, serve as something to get the attention of the appropriate people, especially in the White House, and that something finally gets done about the mistreatment of one segment of our society, which has always been mistreated, and that's the black man. What say you?